Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah. How are you?
Good evening. I am well, and how are you?
I am doing good. Good to
Good.
see you again. It's been a little bit.
It has been a little bit.
We missed last week. Schedules didn't align. To be honest, I'm actually just recovering from a little bit of a throat issue.
Oh no.
So, yeah, I did a reaction episode for our patrons yesterday for this latest episode of the Bad Batch, and explained that my voice is not my voice so much, but my throat has been a little rough. I was recording with Martin on Sunday and constantly hit mute and coughing all the time, but it's getting better. It's okay. So how's it been? How you been the last couple of weeks?
It's been long hours, but it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been good. So just need to catch up on some sleep now.
Yes. Happy that you've caught up on some Star Wars as well.
Yes.
Because we've got a lot to talk about.
There is so much to talk about today.
There's actually been a lot that's coming out, which is surprising in the middle of a series that's out there like the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Because the Bad Batch is rolling on really nicely. And we've only got 3 episodes left. And of course, May the 4th is looming soon with all kinds of stuff that's, around that time. So anyway, we're going to get into all of that. First and foremost, thanks to our patrons and, what we do on here when we get, we set up, or we do welcome messages to new patrons, and we've got a new patron on here that has joined us. He's going to go by the name of Brandon, the Lazy Leprechaun. So thanks, Brandon, for joining us on Patreon and supporting the show. You've already, contributed a lot of comments, which we'll get to some of those at the end of the show here. But truly appreciate you. Truly appreciate all of our patrons, and can't thank you enough. So keep coming and joining the conversations, and we'll talk about your comments and stuff on here, and then of course we'll see you on Patreon with additional content there. So thank you. First up, we got a couple things to do here, Hannah. First up, this came out this week. This is The Living Force.
Oh, nice.
Right? The novel that takes place right before episode 1 has all 12 of the council members a part of this thing. So I actually was thinking, Hannah, thinking about giving you this because you read faster than I do.
Oh, really?
You could do a little review if you would like to do that.
Absolutely. Will do.
Now, I know you're a listener too, though, because this is out on audiobook too, but I figured you read pretty fast. So
Yeah, sure.
if you wanted to,
Yeah.
there it is. I pre-ordered that, so it dropped and got in the mail the other day. So
Sounds great.
I'm going to listen to it eventually. So, because I'm not going to read it. Although I need to. I thought about maybe I'll sit down and start I don't know. I'd rather do that with comics, the comics anyway. So, but that's out now, guys. Go check that out. John Jackson Miller, who's been around Star Wars for a while. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think what he's been praised a lot for was a Kenobi book that is, unfortunately, it's Legends now, but he wrote a book that took place, while he was on Tatooine, and got a lot of credit for that. So there he is doing a canon book. I think he's actually been part of the High Republic here recently too. So check him out. Check that book out. And hope maybe soon Hannah will have a little review for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of that. Let's see. KOTOR
Mm-hmm.
Knights of the Old Republic apparently is still happening. So that's good news.
Yes, it's very good news.
Yes, very good news. As you know, as we will dive into here a little bit about some gaming a little bit here, but again, one of those things about Star Wars games is just feels like it's moving at a snail's pace, and really need some games out there, man. But this is apparently still happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have shifted studios though, but it's still going. So we will see. That's really all that's been said. There's nothing like a timeline or anything like that. So
Right. Hey, I'd rather them take their time and have it be great than have it be rushed and
right.
not.
So speaking of games,
Yes.
Star Wars Outlaws
Mm-hmm.
put out a brand new trailer the other day as well. You just watched it.
Yes.
What's your feelings about that game? Are you still excited for it?
I think I'm still excited for it. I'm very curious how the open world is going to play because I feel like there is one mainstream story happening. So I'm very curious as to how the open world plays into that. I don't know if it's going to be more like a Mass Effect thing where you can choose to do certain missions in order to gain loyalty from your fellow teammates so that you have at the end a solid squad. Might be like that with Mass Effect 2. Um, but we see a lot of familiar characters. And it's
Yes.
very clear as to when this happens. And I think it's absolutely right that this is the time for the crime syndicates to kind of step up and try to take over business because the Empire is so distracted. I mean, we see that in Solo,
Hmm.
how Darth
Hmm.
Maul was like, this is where the true power will lie. And
Right.
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So I think it's very cool that we're exploring that side of
Hmm.
this era of Star Wars, where it's more the crime syndicates.
Yes. Yes.
What about you?
So so I'm not familiar with Mass Effect. So with Mass Effect, is that game considered open world or
I wouldn't consider it open world, but let me say Mass Effect 2, is it open world? Um yeah, no, I wouldn't call it open world. Um
okay?
there are incorporated open world events, but I wouldn't yeah, I'm not saying people call Mass Effect open world because open world to me is you can choose your own adventure. That's what open world means to me. And this is clearly you have one mainstream thing you have to focus on.
Yeah. I see. I don't think. Here's how I interpreted it: is when I think of open world, like, to be honest, I think of I feel like one of the first kind of open world games was Grand Theft Auto, where there's a story, like you're a certain character and you're supposed to be doing something,
Hmm.
but you can go off and do whatever you want.
Right. And I guess Skyrim
And
is the same thing as well.
yes, I've heard Skyrim is that.
Yeah.
Now this game, again, I haven't played it, but this recent game that came out, Starfield, like that is open. Apparently that's like the biggest open world game that's been out.
Oh,
You
dang.
can go to like all these different planets, like do whatever you want, but there is a mission, like there's an overall mission that you're trying to do.
I guess maybe for me, it's like, because at least with Skyrim, they intrigue you with all these other storylines going on. And I feel like this trailer was really hitting hard on the main journey you're going on. So I guess for me, I'm just curious, like, what are the other things you can do? Because right now it doesn't feel like
Right.
there's
No,
another option.
that's true. That's fair. I think yes, I do think that this trailer made it seem like almost like another Jedi Fallen Order,
Yes, that's exactly what it felt like.
and you're doing certain things and you're going a certain way. But I feel like with Jedi Fallen Order, I feel like when I go, if I'm in the middle of the campaign and I go exploring, there's a lot of places I can't go. I feel like in this game, it's not going to be restrictive that way. Like if I want to
Right.
go explore the planet, I can go explore the planet and pick up later where I want to, as far as like, so that's, to me, I think what they're calling open world. Now, it could be 100% wrong, and people on here can tell me what
You
that
can tell
really
me too.
means. Yeah, but I feel like because this is going to be, I feel like this story is going to be massive. And I think, if someone was telling, who was telling me, I was talking to somebody about this, but I feel like this also feels like, it sounds like, her mission is, you've got to steal from this guy, right? Well, I feel like you can't even get to that point until you earned, like you said, I think so many experience and recruited the right people. So I feel like this game is going to be a long running game.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you can't just sit for 4 hours and beat this thing. Like
No.
you've got to do so many different things and earn your way up. That's what I feel like. Maybe it's kind of open world type of thing. Like you
Yeah.
can go get experience. You can go kind of try all these different things, travel to these. What I'm curious about is I want to know the details of like, well, how many worlds are we talking about? How many worlds can I explore? Where can I go? What can I do? So I'm with you. I think, because that's what I really want. I'm more interested in that than I am finding out what happens to Kay Vest, to be honest.
Right.
But I just want to be able to sit down one day or one night when I'm free and just start playing and go wherever I want. That's kind of what I want to do. So
Yeah. And you mentioned and I completely agree, this is not going to be a quick game you can finish in a couple of hours, but you better believe there are going to be people trying to find all the glitches, trying to find all the hacks, and we're going to get some speed runners going, and that'll be interesting to see.
right,
Because like
yeah,
Breath of the Wild, they found a couple of glitches to make the speed run that much more effective.
oh,
And I think
okay.
like somebody finished the game in under an hour, I'm really tempted to say.
Oh, well,
So
that's no fun.
I can't wait to see the speedrunners try to finish this game in under an
Yeah,
hour.
yeah. So I'm excited. They dropped the date, of course. You can go ahead and pre-order now. It comes August 30th, and it's on, as far as I can tell, it's on PS5, it's on Xbox, it's on PC. So anything you want to do, you can play it. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Apparently, Kira makes an appearance, obviously, with Crimson Dawn in this, and like you said, the new characters, familiar characters, takes place in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. In fact, I read some things that basically says there are a lot. Basically, what I've read is that a lot of this takes place literally right after War of the Bounty Hunters, that comic series.
Okay.
Because you remember that, Kira stole Han from Boba Fett and is auctioning him off, and Vader comes and basically there's a fallout of like the syndicates of that. This is kind of the aftermath of that,
Oh,
where
okay.
all the syndicates are kind of,
That
so
makes
it's
sense.
a little tied together. And again, like you said, it's all about the syndicate. It's all about the underworld of Star Wars at this point. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's out there. Go check that out if you haven't, and it's available for pre-order. Let's see. The other thing is apparently the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has been pushed back. Its release date. It is now slated for May 22nd, 2026, which is a little over 2 years from now. Jeez. Now, that doesn't mean we're not getting a movie still in 2025. I guess there's still an outside shot that could be the Rey movie that is apparently shooting sometime within the next month or two.
Okay.
So there's still hope that maybe in December of 2025 we could still get a movie.
We'll find
I
out
don't.
soon,
I don't
hopefully.
think it. Yeah, I don't think it'll be May of next year. So
No. Mm-mm.
yeah. So we'll see if that happens. But Mando and Grogu not happening for a couple more years.
Mm-hmm.
And then other movie news with Dawn of the Jedi, which is the James Mangold movie. Apparently, it's been announced that Beau Willimon is going to help write the movie. If some of you aren't familiar with him, which I wasn't until I read a little bit about him, but he did a 3-episode. He did the 3-episode prison arc of Andor. So
This is going to be good.
it might be pretty good. People are pretty excited about this. So he is co-writing Dawn of the Jedi with James Mangold.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that continues to move forward. So yeah, that means he wrote the speech.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yes,
So this
Andy
this is going to be
Serkis
good.
said. Yes. So that's pretty neat there. Okay, so that's a little bit of the news there. And now we've got some episodes of the Bad Batch to talk about. So we weren't on last week, so there were 2 episodes that dropped last week. Identity Crisis and Point of No Return.
Yeah.
And then this week we've got episode 12, which was Juggernaut. So let's go back, if you can, last week to Identity Crisis, where I'm curious to get your take on that, because obviously there's been a lot of discussions about that episode.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I really truly haven't heard anything really negative about it as far as the the story in it, and where it is, what the characters were doing and things like that. What obviously was talked about was the subject matter. So what were your thoughts on that, Hannah?
Well, they really went there. I think they handled the topic of, let's call it what it is, child abuse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Child trafficking, kidnapping.
everything like that. It was absolutely heartbreaking. But the thing is, we knew it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was happening, and I think they dealt with the whole subject matter very, very well. I think if you were an adult, you understood what was going on. If you were younger, you might not you just kind of think, oh, they got kidnapped. And then some of the other lines said, like, oh, yeah, if they misbehave, they're in solitary confinement for 48 hours. It's like, no, even putting a grown adult in solitary confinement is considered torture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not okay. And I think we're really seeing Emery just struggling
Yeah.
internally, because the thing, like, and I hate the fact that they call them specimens, but you know why they have to call them specimens. It's so they can socially and emotionally disconnect from the fact that these are kids. These are
Right.
kids. And I know we're not talking about the next episode or this week's episode yet. But I think I'm still a little confused as to what greater purpose these kids are going to serve. I thought maybe they'd be a version of Inquisitors, but maybe not. I also think the fact it's like Omega was put in an impossible position where she decided to give herself up because Pabu was, I think the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think that one special ops clone, I think they're tech, because they were able to break through all that technology with no issue. So I think it is tech, which would be quite a twist, especially because we keep on seeing little mentions of tech. So it's like, well, it's going to be quite the reveal.
Yeah.
But with all of that, she was faced with an impossible choice, because on one hand, if she gets turned over to the Empire, it's serving a worse purpose. Like, it's going to make everything worse for everybody, but at the same time, you value her life as well, and you don't want to give her up. And I think I absolutely love the fact that when Crosshair went to shoot the tracker on the ship, he missed.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved that because I don't think I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, he's going to make it, and then they're going to track Omega, and it's all going to be fine. No, he missed, and so it's
Right.
like, so I don't know. That's my takeaway from everything. I think they handled the situation very well, but it went very, very dark.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it with my 14-year-old daughter, and I can tell she was like uncomfortable. She understood what was going on. And again, like most of us, we knew that this happens in Star Wars, right? I did hear or read some tweets that mentioned, well, hey, the Jedi were taking kids. Like the Jedi, they're not taking kids.
No, they would offer,
Yeah,
and then the parents would give their kids over. There is a difference.
a huge difference. So it's not like the Jedi. This is literally kidnapping, and to see that there are, again, what's crazy is that you see somebody that just happens to see something, and they could call it in, and Cad Bane shows up and takes your kid. And I just, as I was watching, I'm thinking, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like you. I think it was, you feel like Emery felt, right? Like, what is going on here? Why are these kids here? Why are we, and so obviously they're there trying to, well, because they have high M counts, they're force sensitive or whatever. They are trying to, replicate this blood type, right? So, but I'm still, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever really explain it, but I'm still a little, they haven't really done a quite good job of explaining why they have to test them every day, like, that's the only, like, how are they testing it? And, so that part I'm still a little confused about, but again, overall though, I mean, it was a good episode. It wasn't like it was, poor, but it's one of those ones that I probably don't want to watch again.
No, that it's so heavy. You can only watch it every now and again if you were to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah,
It's heavy.
it's very heavy. And then we shift to Point of No Return, which is unfortunately the Empire showing up on Pabu. It's the guys, of course, on the day they want to leave. They show up, and like you said, Crosshair has a chance to track the ship back to Tantus, but is unable to tag it. But again, a lot of good action here. What do you think?
I mean, once again, it's Omega facing and Crosshair facing an impossible decision, but it's hard to figure out if a right choice was made or not. It sucks that Pabu, which was not being interfered by the Empire, and the fact that the Empire was going to go to extreme lengths to get what they wanted, and they just didn't care. I mean, they took away their livelihood. They took their way of making money and making food. Like, it's absolutely horrific. And I still believe that special ops clone is tech, especially because he was able to hack into V's into her system to figure out where the Bad Batch were, to figure
Right.
out where Omega was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is the point of no return in more than one way. It's a point of no return in the fact that their paradise and their safe space is gone. It's the point of no return in the sense of Omega's been kidnapped. It's now or never, because otherwise the Empire is going to turn her into a weapon. What about you?
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I gotta say though, when this whole time when I think when they're talking about finding Tantus, and I didn't really consider that she would get captured again and
Yeah.
brought back to Tantus. I thought that was an interesting twist.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of that kind of just, but it makes sense because I feel like it makes it more. There's more sense of urgency now to get there and get her versus just trying to figure out how to get the rest of the clones out.
Yeah.
So, because they are under the clock, who knows what they're going to be doing to Omega, and if she's the host, the proper host blood, what does that mean? Do they just keep taking blood from her every day, or do they do whatever? So we'll probably find that out, I guess, in the next couple episodes. But yeah, it was I remember Martin kind of predicted this a long time ago, that Babu would get invaded by the Empire.
Yep.
And he was right, and this isn't something they can kind of go back to anymore and retire like they maybe planned on. But overall, solid episode. Yeah, good to see the guys, working together. I thought, when I saw Crosshair miss, I thought, they're going to blame him for her being, her being caught, even to the point where I don't know if, part of me felt like it was going to be a hard time for them to believe that that was her idea to get caught and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it started looking really bad for Crosshair there.
I won't disagree with you. It did start looking bad for Crosshair. For me, it was Hunter would never forgive him.
Right.
Because Omega turned herself over for what? For the fact that you missed it?
That's right.
But that's not the case.
That's not the case. Yes. As we get into this week's episode, which is Juggernaut. Juggernaut, again, this is where I'm telling you, I'm very, very impressed with the writing of this series and the writing of this season especially. Because, again, if I was a good writer, I probably would have guessed this. But to bring Rampart back, I didn't see that coming.
No, that was out of left field.
But that's what you do in a series, right? You have all these characters that you've introduced in the first season, and you kind of, the point of the series is to kind of wrap up everybody's storyline and story arc. And I forgot about this guy.
I did too. I was like, wait, Rampart?
Right?
Rampart. Whoa, okay.
Yeah. And I think I believe he hasn't been seen since the first episode of the second season.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because, when Dooku's, it was like when Dooku's thing got raided.
Yeah.
I think it was, he got arrested for something there. Either way, he got arrested for he took the blame. They blamed him for whatever was happening with, or maybe it was it Camino? Maybe it was Camino.
Was it Camino? It's been a while.
It's been a while. So anyway, he got blamed for something. They arrested him. He's been in prison this whole time. So now they're feeling like we got to go get him out because he knows where Tantus is, blah, blah, blah. So there's this, so there it is. They're on a rescue mission to break out Rampart. They use a Juggernaut, so I'm assuming that's why the episode's called Juggernaut. An A6 Juggernaut's that big transport vehicle. So anyway, Fee's in this to help, but the guys are there. What do you think about this episode?
I really liked it. I mean, once again, we bring up tech. any friend of Brown Eyes is a friend of mine. Like, so like Tech,
That's true.
and then and then in the last episode before that, Omega leaving the glasses of Tech in the treasure
Yes.
trove. Like, come
Yes.
on, come on. But
You don't think
so
that's too obvious?
no, I don't think so. Too obvious would be like, I miss Tech. I feel like that'd be too obvious. But anyway, this is where we saw a lot of the shots in the trailer where we were like, what's happening here? This is nuts. This is the chaotic Bad Batch we know and love. And
Yes.
I think that just kind of sums up this whole mission is how chaotic it is. And I love her idea of a stealth mission is just a free fall until you fall
Right.
below the radar.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's true.
But I find it interesting. I mean, that's how top secret Tantus is that nobody knows where it is. Like,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
It is nuts. And I don't think in the end, yeah, he doesn't even know where it is.
No, he doesn't. But he's like, but I think I can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like what is his plan? We don't have a solid answer. What is this, like the origin story of Snoke? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. I don't know. But you know, and of course, Omega is now stuck at Tantus, and
Yes.
she's been shown, you know, the room where the kids are and stuff.
Dude, though, why put her with them? Like, I'm glad she's with them, but you know she's just going to cause trouble and more chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that was not a smart move, especially with the light force training she's done with Gunji. Like, sorry, but not a smart move to put her with all the other kids.
No, probably not. Now, do you remember though? I believe it's the first episode of this season. I'm going to pull it up right now. But when the Emperor shows up, remember, and he gets the tour of Necromancer,
Right.
right? Was it the first episode or the? I think it was the
First or
episode.
second. It was
Might have been
very
the
early
second.
on.
I think it was the second. You know, he goes through the, you know, the hallway where the where the laser beams are, the security. Actually, it's episode 3 of this season. So he's walking down, and I'm trying to get there. He walks in. So he walks at the end of this hall, and he walks into a big room with these. I don't know, he's almost individual casings of maybe clones. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that's what was odd, because I'm like, when he took Emery down the hallway, I thought that's where he was taking Emery, because they're going down the same hallway.
Right.
But she ends up in where the kids are.
Yes.
So
So
we
are there
haven't
two?
seen. Well, we haven't seen this yet again.
Right.
So I'm still wondering, like, what is happening in this room?
It's probably the second half of the plan, which would involve
Correct.
Omega.
Yes. So I still think they're holding that part back.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know yet exactly, because him and the Emperor and Hemlock walk over to one of the things, and he opens one,
Right.
but
Like
we
that-
haven't seen yet what's in there.
That's why I wonder, is this Snoke's origin story?
Yeah, or it's a clone of Palpatine in there. And
Yeah, it's one or the other.
they're trying to, you know, at least my theory is that they're trying to clone Palpatine. They're trying to match his M count.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to figure out, how to duplicate that, because they can't duplicate it from the host, is what he kept saying, right? So I feel like it's just going to be a clone of him.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do that, but we haven't seen that yet. So, but I just thought that was odd. They were walking down that same hallway, and they don't end up where the kids are.
Yeah, it's
But
weird.
Anyway. So, yeah, really good episode. 3 episodes left. It's going to be an all-out war on Tantus here soon, I feel
Yep.
like. and there's 3 weeks, so we're not getting like a double episode. We got episodes on the 17th of April, then the 24th of April, and then the 1st of May, right before May the 4th. So,
Yep.
Okay. Now we're caught up on the Bad Batch, so let's move to what I think is the big thing, which is Tales of the Empire.
That is going to be awesome.
All right, so go ahead. What's your thoughts on what you saw in the trailer that they put out?
I'm really, really interested in Barris's story. Especially because of Rise of the Red Blade. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how much the two are going to be paralleled in terms of her experience becoming an Inquisitor.
No, she's not mentioned in the book at all, obviously.
No,
Right.
She's not. But once you get to that point, nobody really has names anymore.
Yeah.
You are called fifth sister, second brother. Like, you don't have a name anymore. So it'd be very interesting. So she might be mentioned. We just don't know what her name is.
Correct. Right.
So she could be in it. But as far as I know at this point, she is not in Rise of the Red Blade. And then also, I'm blanking out on her name, but we see this character from Ahsoka.
Morgan.
Yep. And Mandalorian. And we learn her backstory, and we see General Grievous. Like, this is going to be really, really interesting to see how she became in favor, or she gained Thrawn's favor, and how that all worked out.
Yep.
So I'm more excited about Barriss than Morgan's story, but we'll see how they connect. That's just me.
Yes.
And I wonder if both of them, because both of them involve Ahsoka, if Ahsoka is the connecting value between the two. That'll be very interesting if that is the case.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts?
This was this was a huge, pleasant surprise.
Yes.
I did not expect this trailer. I think all the rumors that were following and listening to was, we could either get a episode, season 2 of Tales of the Jedi. There could be a thing where it's Tales of the Bounty Hunters.
Tales of the Sith.
Could be a Sith thing, and maybe, we're going to get Asajj's story in there, all this stuff. I think that was kind of wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But did not see this coming, Tales of the Empire. And I agree. I think it's very good to get these backstories of these characters, because, Morgan did come out of nowhere. She all of a sudden shows up on, Ahsoka's live action debut on The Mandalorian introduced Morgan as kind of her antagonist, right? So,
Yeah.
That was a great scene, and, that's where we learned about where she asked Morgan where are the whereabouts of Thrawn, right? So, key moment in Star Wars, and to not know exactly what motivates this character was a little odd, and now we're going to probably get all that. So I am interested in that, and we, as Ahsoka told us now, she is a Night Sister. So therefore, that's where this whole, I think, Dathomir gets wiped out. She forms this revenge for the Separatists, and that therefore why she wants to join the Republic / Empire, and Thrawn's the one she somehow runs into to do all that. And then you got Barriss, and yes, the question about Barriss has been lingering for years, because the last time we see Barriss Offee was the end of season 5 of the Clone Wars, which was, I feel like it was back in like 2013.
It's been a while. It's been a decade, roughly.
It's been over a decade. And, a lot of people thought, well, maybe she'll show up in Rebels. That didn't happen. Maybe she'll show up in something else, but it's like, I mean, I even think, wasn't there a rumor that maybe she'd show up in Ahsoka?
Yep, because we thought that maybe Marok was Barriss.
Correct. So now that would have been really interesting, because now we know that she's part of the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have actually been really cool to tie that together.
Yeah.
But we saw Marok in this as well. Did you see Marok?
Yes, we did see Marok. So it's like, okay, well then what the heck is Marok doing here? And why did he disappear like dust?
Well, yeah, apparently he was, I would guess he died, and then Morgan resurrected him as, and he was like a, one of those death guys or whatever. So anyway, but Barriss, yes, Barriss is really intriguing to me because, she betrayed the Jedi, so she was kind of already going down this path. And I am interested in seeing this process of what happens with these Inquisitors.
It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very dark. I'm just going to say that right now.
If they go in detail, right?
If they do, this is going to be a heavy series.
Yeah. So really interesting that, that one of those shots. So we see one of the sisters that was in Ahsoka, actually. We see Marok, and then we see the one, and I failed to know their names, but that's one of the far end is the one that was in the Tales of the Jedi with Ahsoka, where she kills him.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that takes place before that. So, but yeah, Barriss is there, front and center with Vader, and trained. I love the scene where she's training with the Grand Inquisitor. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting and very good, I feel like. Now this drops May the 4th.
Yes.
So right after the Bad Batch, you don't have to wait very long, 3 days, I think, and then we've got episodes of this to watch. I believe it's going to be 3 episodes each again.
Mm-hmm.
To tell these stories. So I don't know. I mean, I was looking forward to maybe Ventress, them explaining the whole Ventress thing in this kind of thing.
Same.
Right. But these aren't. I think these are good characters to do. These.
Oh yeah.
These are fine. These are good. I mean, you could even do. I mean, Tales of the Empire. I wouldn't be surprised if they expanded on this. You could do Thrawn.
You could do Thrawn. You could do Tarkin. You could do that. Opens a whole new door for a whole new set of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like this. I think they're gonna continue the style. I think there will be a Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I think there will be a Tales of the Sith.
Yeah,
I think that's inevitable. I think that's how they're gonna start filling the gaps in with some of these characters that maybe we don't know the whole stories of and the whole backstories for. So
it'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Tales of the Empire coming May the 4th. You will be there to watch all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but let's see some comments here on some of this stuff from last week. Let's see. Or a couple weeks ago, our episode of where we talked about Ventress's return.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Thrawn says, I would love a Star Wars marathon in theater, but would struggle by the 4th or 5th film. I did a marathon of Lord of the Rings trilogy in a theater in London that was 10 plus hours, and I must admit I did struggle by the 3rd movie.
I was about to say that must be extended edition.
Yeah. Whew. No, that's just a long time. I mean, that's just a long time.
It's a lot.
So, yeah. Can't wait for the commentary. I think 8 a.m. your time and 12 p.m. my time, so that's perfect for me. Thanks again for the early watch along. So that's when right before we did the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Darth S&M says, I won't be able to attend the commentary. That is 7 a.m. my time, which he did, though.
Oh, he
He did
did. He
join
hopped
us.
in.
Yes. And I don't get up that early on Saturday. I'm a night owl. You know how much Sith love the dark and all. I also have an event at 10 a.m. that we'll be getting ready for. Come, too bad, Red Adventure Sith is one of my faves. So anyway, he joined us.
Mm-hmm.
So he joined us. Thrawn joined us. That was great. That will be out soon, later this month. Let's see. Amanda says, I'd imagine the explanation around Omega is pretty simple. We've known she's special in some way. Now, granted, this is a couple weeks ago. So she says, we've known she's special in some way since the beginning. One of a kind clone, was Nalase's assistant, etc. I bet the Empire knew the Kaminoans were experimenting with creating Force-sensitive clones. Maybe the Republic even asked them to. But they might not know if they were successful or who they might have been successful with. Thus, the mass migration of clones to Tantus and testing everyone's blood for a hit. Nalase mentioned a possibility for false results, so testing everyone multiple times makes sense. Plus, it makes it less suspicious and streamlined.
That is true.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
there's something to say about routine to help people be normalized and brainwashed into certain things. So,
Okay. I can get on board with that.
yeah,
I can get on board with the testing because of multiple false reports and stuff like that.
absolutely.
I could dig that. Okay, so on Patreon we had some comments here. Let's see. I probably shouldn't do it there. Let me go to Patreon. No, I should do it. The emails don't really. Okay, so let's see. Which one should I? Okay, Bad Batch episode 9. Was that the one? Yes. So, first up was based on episode 9, which is the Ventress episode. Thrawn
Yes.
Addict on here says what surprised Ventress' return wasn't a flashback, and I agree with Hannah. Was a bit disappointed. I personally think she had a great story arc and ending in Dark Disciple, and I think they should have left it there. But I understand she's a beloved character for fans, so I can see why they brought her back. I hope at least now she gets her own spin-off series explaining how she survived and her reuniting with Voss, and also maybe at the very least get some Dark Disciple scenes and flashbacks. The episode itself was fun, but I really don't want Omega to be Force sensitive because I feel like everyone is Force sensitive now, like Sabine. I hope Omega doesn't train and stays with the Bad Batch. Otherwise, you got another Jedi out there in a time where there shouldn't really be any, which takes away from Luke's story in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Thanks to you both for the action video. Looking forward to this week's episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Darth S&M says, good idea, poorly executed, but the fighting was so cool. I agree a lot with what Dave and TA said. A spinoff would be a good idea. Let's see. And then, of course, our new patron, Brandon, the Lazy Leprechaun, says, I'm probably reaching, but I think they gave a hint on why Ventress is around with her line at the end. I still have a few lives left. I think where she was buried helped her come back to life, and the fact that she's a Night Sister didn't hurt either. I think this week's episode is the Battle of Pabu. During the battle, the Bad Batch discovers where Tantus is, and they start building Strike Force. And the last 3 episodes of the series is Battle of Tantus and seeing everybody, where everyone goes afterwards. So you're partially right. You were partially right. There was kind of the invasion of Pabu.
Right.
But unfortunately, they still don't know where Tantus is.
Yes. Yes.
Still don't know where Tantus is. Okay, so that was that episode. Let me see if I think there was some other comments here. Man, I think my internet's a little slow.
Really?
It's loading a little slower. Okay.
That's fun.
Let's see. So reaction to our to the double episode. Brandon says there's going to be a lot of tension between Hunter and Crosshair. Hunter's going to put all the blame on Crosshair for letting Omega get captured.
Mm.
So that was my thought too, for sure. I thought that was going to cause a lot of issues. But are you surprised that it didn't?
Yeah. I mean, I am a little surprised, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, that shows a growth in their relationship.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there was probably a drawn out discussion where Crosshair's like, you would have made the same choice. And then Hunter was probably like, yeah, you're probably right. And, moved on from there.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So there's your comments. Thanks everybody for doing that. Brandon, again, thanks for welcome.
Yeah.
To our Patreon group here. So there you go. Not so bad. We actually got through a lot.
That was a lot.
51 minutes. So yeah, lots going on in Star Wars. Again, very surprised how much they're putting out there. But I think it's actually good. I think it's don't be waiting. If it's ready to go, let's get it out there. Let's start talking about it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we can enjoy all of it at the same time. So, let's keep going. So, thanks everybody for joining us, watching, listening. Of course, we're all over the podcast feeds, and go to youtube.com/ or at Inside the Force on YouTube, and you'll find all of our shows there. And of course, if you're interested in joining us on Patreon, go check out our membership tiers there. And come back each week for Inside the Force. 3 episodes left. We got May the 4th coming up. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Lots of stuff.
May the 4th. So that means, I'm trying to think of, because we got to record that commentary.
Saturday, May the 4th. That is weird. It's coming out on a Saturday. But that Saturday literally follows the finale, the series finale of Bad Batch, which airs May 1st.
Correct.
On a Wednesday. So it's crazy.
Yeah, May 1st is a Wednesday. May the 4th is Saturday, which happens to be, for us Kentuckians, Derby Day as well. So a lot happening on that Saturday. It's Star Wars Day and Derby Day on the same day.
Yes.
We have family over for Derby, and my wife's already saying, well, it's going to be, sorry, but it's going to be Star Wars themed. So, so that's going to be fun. Indeed. But I was thinking we obviously got to record our next commentary.
Yes.
At the end of this month, and that is going to be for Solo, the next chronological movie of the Star Wars movies. So we got to do that. I'm trying to think. Actually, what I'll probably thinking when I release episode 3 commentary, it'll probably be sometime at the end of April. But I don't think I'll wait till May the 4th. But I'll maybe that during that time between the 1st and the 4th, we do the commentary. Actually, maybe.
Potentially. We'll talk dates.
Yeah, we got to talk dates. All right. Thanks, everybody, as usual, for being here and listening. And we will see you next week. Thanks, Hannah, so much.
Thank you, Dave, so much.
Make sure you get some rest.
Yes, I'm going to bed right after this.
Sweet. All right. I'll stay up and put the show together. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next week. May the Force be with you.